You expressed concerns in some of those documents about the transfer of Ebola and Henipah viruses to the Wuhan Institute of Virology. Those viruses were actually shipped out in late March of 2019. Why were you concerned about these shipments to the Wuhan Institute of Virology?
So the basis of my concern wasn't the scientist within the NML. The basis of my concern was actually the recipient laboratory.
You know, the president of PIAC exited her role as president of PIAC on February 27th, 2019. A new deputy head was not appointed until May 6th of that year. So there was a period of about 10 weeks in which there was no president of PIAC. So my first question is, was there an interim or acting president of PIAC during that period from the end of February to the beginning of May of 2019?
Yes, as is normal, an interim president would be appointed with delegation during that period.
And who was that? What was that role? Was it an ADM or was it a director general? Like what? Who was the acting president during that period?
The acting president during that period was the chief public health officer.
Those viruses were actually shipped out in late March of 2019.
We've also had a discussion with Facebook on how we can collaborate on removing information that has been scientifically disproven or debunked. So Facebook is currently working with the WHO, with the US CDC, and essentially trying to work with us to, so they'll need some experts to actually say, is this misinformation? If it's scientifically proven to be misinformation, there's an opportunity for them to actually remove that information. And we're also working with Google and others. And so I think that a lot of people criticize social media companies for not doing enough, but I think that we're all trying to figure out what more we can do together. So another thing that I thought about is a coalition of public health partners so that we can retweet and read forward our collective information in the same way that the anti-vaccination group has been doing. And this could be an international collaboration as well. We need to collaborate across government departments because there are other government departments sort of interested in impacts on the elections, impacts on combating extremism.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Mr. Fadden, for appearing. One of the things that struck me about this national security breach in terms of how it was handled was the length of time that it took between when red flags were first raised in August of 2018 to the time that these two scientists were let out of the lab on July 5th of 2019. That's almost a year. And during that time, these scientists had unfettered access to the lab, even after a fact-finding report was issued in March. Although it was incomplete, it validated that they were, among other things, transferring on an unauthorized basis materials from the lab to the PRC, and that there were multiple security and intellectual property breaches of policy. So I'd be interested in your thoughts on the issue of the timeline in terms of how PIAC responded.
Thank you, Chair. Well, I think my general purpose reaction is that the time frame allowing them full access was too long. I don't think necessarily that when the red flags were first raised, they should have been handcuffed and walked out of the building. But there were a range of measures that departmental security and the deputy head could have taken to restrict their access, to control where they're going and whatnot. And I think it became increasingly clear, certainly in terms of the material I've read, as time went on, it was more and more serious. And they also could have made the conditions to which they were subjected more serious as time went on. So my bottom line is their general access, their unfettered access until almost the very end was too long. And at a bare minimum, they should have had, if they were to remain on the job, had their physical access restricted and had perhaps electronic access restricted. You don't have to cut somebody off entirely in order to limit the threat they pose.
This is Hong Kong Free Press coming to you live from the main chamber of the Legislative Council of Hong Kong. Protesters around 30 minutes ago have successfully broken into the gates and have got into various areas in the Legislative Council. Now, what we see here is the main chamber of the Legislative Council, where lawmakers would normally hold their meetings. We see here protesters have spray painted black the symbol of the HKSAR.